often said before, it's like some chewing gum that someone has chewed all the sugar out of. Don't chew gum. So, simply because of statements like that, and statements that Prahlad Maharaj believed that someone was more powerful than his father, and his father's brother has been killed, as Hiranyaksha had been killed by the same Vishnu, then Hiranyakashipu tried to kill his son in different ways. And that was Vaishnava Aparada. The Lord gets very angry when someone offends his devotee. So one has to be very, 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 very careful in dealing with Krishna's devotees. So what happened is the Lord Nrsimhadev, talking about anger, he showed the anger. I'm not talking about the anger of Hiranyakashipu. That's another issue. That was inappropriate, but it was actually appropriate. Because Hiranyakashipu was a pure devotee of the Lord. And he was serving the Lord. It's interesting. You could say it's inappropriate anger. He offended a Vaishnava. But from another angle of vision, Lord Vishnu, that is, Lord Nrsimhadev, same person. Krishna, same person, wanted Hiranyakashipu to offend his son. So he could get angry. You know, this is what's going on behind the scenes. You know, you have the story, the exoteric reason for Lord Nrsimhadev's appearance. That means killing Hiranyakashipu and saving his poor son Prahlad Maharaj. And then you have the esoteric reason, which is, let me enjoy getting angry. So the real reason for Lord Nrsimhadev to appear is to enjoy getting angry, and the other indirect rasas, which we're going to mention in a second. That's it. It's the Lord's enjoyment. Any of the Lord's appearances in this world are for his enjoyment. Because any of these activities, such as killing demons, can be accomplished by what? His energies. His devotees. Because another important reason is to attract us, so that we will be attracted to the Lord in his multifarious appearances. He's so interesting. How many other religions or presentations of God in this world present a God that is so interesting? I mean, sometimes certain religions, God is depicted as very angry. But his anger is not focused on people like Ryan. His anger is focused on you unless you serve him, which is quite frightening. So these are the reasons for the Lord's appearance. The internal reason, to enjoy anger. You may say, how is anger enjoyable? Well, then why do you all watch, football games? Or cricket games? Because you enjoy it, right? You know, I'm not saying that's good. Please don't quote me in this respect. But, you do enjoy, soccer. How many of you watch soccer games? Raise your hand. Some of you are not being truthful here. But because you enjoy anger. And why should the Lord not have enjoyment? Why should the Lord not have his sporting activities in which he kills his opponents? Why not? Because whatever qualities that we have are manifest in the Supreme Personality of Godhead in a pure way. And so Krishna arranges for his devotees to come down so he can fight them. And we should become attracted to this. So anyway, so that's the anger. He gets angry because his devotee has been offended. The important lesson is don't offend devotees. And another lesson is Krishna enjoys getting angry. So, the next indirect ras is Adbhuta. What does Adbhuta mean? Amazing, wonderful. So we hear Abhuta Sringham, right? So rasas are enjoyed not just by the Supreme Lord, but by his devotees. So we chant and we see Lord and say, wow, this is amazing. The Lord appears in such a way, and he's so intelligent that he combines what? A lion and a man. Now, if Krishna had appeared as a lion, that would be okay, not so amazing. Right? It's okay. You know, it happens every day. Or if he appears as a man, we know so many appearances that Krishna appeared as what appeared to be a human being, human-like pastimes. You know, there's Krishna, there's Ram, and so many other appearances of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here is Krishna, in order to fulfill the words of his devotee, Lord Brahma gave the benediction to Hiranyakashipu. He's not going to be killed in the daytime or nighttime or man or beast or weapons or any of these different strictures. But it was all these different strictures, requirements that were mentioned by Hiranyakashipu when he was getting the benediction from Lord Brahma were the Lord's plan. So he could do something that was simply wonderful, unheard of, Adbhuta Sringam. So here's the next one that you may have questions about. Next one is comedy. What's the comedy in Lord Nrsingadev's appearance? Is it funny? Well, there's sort of like a sarcastic humor there. All right, you thought you would become immortal, you rascal. You thought you covered all your bases, all the fine print. Because he originally asked, that is Hiranyakashipu, originally asked Lord Brahma for what? Immortality. And Lord Brahma said to him, no, I can't do. I cannot give immortality. So what happened? Hiranyakashipu thought, I'd cover all my bases. Normally you would think it can't be killed inside, outside, by weapons or man or beast or anything. I got everything covered. But the Lord is more intelligent. In fact, even Lord Brahma is more intelligent. Lord Brahma has this habit of giving benedictions that will ultimately cause the demon's demise. I'll give you one other example. Interesting story. Once upon a time, there were two demons, Sunda and Upasunda. And these two demons went to Lord Brahma. And again, they asked for immortality. Same sort of story. And Lord Brahma said, I can't give you immortality, but you can ask for a way that you would die. And they said, we will only die if we kill each other. They were brothers. They loved each other. And so they were thinking, we've got it made. So what did Lord Brahma do? He called for Vishwakarma, not to build a palace, but to build a beautiful girl. So they took the most attractive features of any lady. I'm not going to go through the whole body, don't worry. I'll just do the head. The nose, the eyes, the ears, the hair, everything. And they called her Tilotama. That means sesame, topmost sesame girl. And so, it's such an interesting story. It's one of my favorite. And so, she circumambulated all the demigods, and she was so attractive, some of the demigods grew extra heads just to see her, or eyes in the back of their head. And so she was sent on a mission, and her mission was to get these two brothers to fight and kill each other. So these two brothers, Sunda and Upasunda, were drunk. And so she comes before them, and they look at her and they think, she's mine. She's mine. She's mine. And you get the rest of the story. So Lord Brahma does these things. So it's very comedic. and how Hiranyakashipu was cheated by Lord Vishnu, not Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu was cheated by Lord Vishnu in the form of Nrsingadev. And how the demons are cheated like that. It's quite funny in an indirect way. Not that everybody's sitting around laughing. So, another indirect Russ here. Actually, we won't get time for the story because there's so many interesting things here. Is chivalry. Chivalry. In many ways, the Lord's dealing with Hiranyakashipu were very chivalrous. He gave him an opportunity to fight with him. He had a club. And when the Lord dealt with him, he dealt with him in a way, the same thing happened in the way that Hiranyaksha was actually killed by the Lord. The Lord played with him. He didn't just drag him to the doorway immediately. He played with him back and forth with a club and fighting. Eventually, after he had satisfied his desire to fight, for a serious fight, the Lord dragged him into the doorway. That's very chivalrous. Now, another aspect of chivalry was manifest by Prahlad Maharaj. Because chivalry, part of chivalry is what? Courageousness. Now, here's this little boy, everywhere from 5 to 10 years of age, who had gotten instruction from his spiritual master. And he was fearless. Bhagavad Gita mentions where fearlessness comes from. Abhaya saplasam shuddhi jnana yoga bhavastati. He had what? Faith in the Lord and knowledge about the Lord. So he was completely fearless, and Prahlad Maharaj is one of the most chivalrous persons imaginable. In his fearlessness, willing to face this great, great demon who had all the demigods afraid of him. The demigods would shiver, and they were all serving Lord Nrsingadev. Everyone except for Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. The rest of them were offering obeisances. Indra would come. Vayu would come. And the demigods would all come and please accept my humble obeisances, Hiranyakashipu. What do you want? He had taken over the heavenly kingdoms. And there's this little boy, 5 years old. You're in Maya, Dad. Take sannyas, You're a demon. Of course, Hiranyakashipu probably liked that. You're a demon? Yeah. The best of the demons. That's probably praising his father. But in any case, he challenged his father. And he just sat there chanting the Lord's holy names when he was what? Thrown into a pit of vipers. When he was thrown off a cliff. When he was given poison. When he was put in a vat of boiling oil. When he was put in fire. And then Goloka sort of lost her life. He was just calmly, how many of you would be calm like that? That's chivalry. Like if someone, let's use a modern example. Someone put a gun to your head. How many would be chanting, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Gauranga, Gauranga Mahaprabhu. I mean, I've been in cars with people where there have been some dangerous things that have happened. I fortunately have this habit of saying, Hare Krishna. But other people say, oh no! I've been with the driver and he goes, oh no! And I said, if you die like that, you rascal, you're going to go to what? Oh no? I don't know where you'll go. That's the point. So, Anyway, we have to develop the habit. This is what we can also learn from Prahlad Maharaj. This world, padam padam, yad vi padam, natesham, is what? Danger at every step. So we have to take the habit, chanting Hare Krishna and being fearless. Knowing with faith that Krishna is there. And he's protecting us. That's one of the symptoms of Sharanagati. Krishna is always protecting us. Krishna is always maintaining us, having no separate interests other than the interests of the Lord, being meek and humble, accepting everything favorable for the Lord's service, and rejecting everything that's unfavorable. And Prahlad Maharaj, that's the ultimate in chivalry, isn't it? Think about it for a second. How many soldiers would be so fearless, chivalrous? Well, so anyway, so we're halfway through the indirect rasa, or a little more than half. The next one is merciful. Lord Nrsimhadev showed mercy by killing Hiranyakashipu. This is actually brought out in this whole section of the Bhagavatam in the 7th canto, because the 7th canto starts with the question whether the Lord is what? Anyone know the question? Partial. Equal. He appears to favor the devotees. It's true. And he appears to be enemies with the rascals. But then he was able to liberate Hiranyakashipu. Because Hiranyakashipu was a devotee, I understand that. But the example given is that when he kills people, that person gets liberated. And even you see in the Ramayana, when Lord Ram, I always try to get too intimate with Lord Ram. I have to remember, it's Lord Ram, Krishna you could be intimate with, but not Lord Ram. I have to remember, this is Lord Nrsimhadev, not Nrsimhadev. So, when Lord Ram killed Ravan, he said the animosity is finished now. Right? When Indrajit was killed, Lord Ram sent him back with honors. Right? That's the mercy of the Lord. And then another aspect of the mercy, compassion, is exhibited by Prahlad Maharaj. Suppose that someone had tried to kill you in so many different ways. Don't you have enemies? Oh, even someone at work tries to get you kicked out of the, anyway, he's competing with you for a different position. He's my enemy. So a devotee is what? Ajata Shatrava. Prahlad Maharaj showed these qualities. Tadikshava Kurunika Surada Sarvadehinam. Ajata Shatrava Shanta Sadava Sadabhushana. As mentioned by Lord Kapiladev. That a devotee is Tatiksha, he's tolerant. Look at Prahlad Maharaj. This is actually mercy or compassion. Tadikshava Kurunika, he's full of mercy. Surada Sarvadehinam, he's what? Compassionate to all living entities. Ajata Shatrava, he has no enemies. Isn't that the highest aspect, highest manifestation of mercy? When someone tries to do something to you again and again and again, and then what do you do at the end? My dear Lord, please forgive him. Isn't it? And, of course, Lord Nrsimhadev said, not only do I forgive him, but anyone who is born in your dynasty in the future, I will not kill. I will actually protect. And then you have people like Bali, who actually took over the whole universe. And what to speak of Banasura? Krishna couldn't kill him, or decided not to kill him, because he was a descendant of Prahlad Maharaj. So Prahlad Maharaj had so much compassion. Lord Nrsingadev had so much compassion. And just two more indirect rasas, then we can get finished and deal with the Abhishek. Actually, today, I'm the only one doing the Abhishek. I have to apologize for that. But it would take too long to have everybody participate in the Abhishek. The next one is easy. Dread. Dread means fearfulness. The Lord is not fearful, of course, but Hiranyakashipu ultimately becomes very fearful when he hears, this is also the comedy thing, too. He hears the Lord shrill laugh. The Bhagavatam describes the Lord is laughing. He's having a good time. Sorry. To me, this is so humorous. You have to forgive me. That's why I'm laughing. So he's having such a good time. He's laughing, right? And that scares, that brings into focus dread. Because Hiranyakashipu is hearing this laughter. Ha 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 ha. I can't do it. But, it's just like, it's shrill. What is shrill laughter? I'm not going to ask for any of you to do it. Shrill means like in high voice. And then Hiranyakashipu gets scared. He understands. This is the end, buddy. This is all. So that's dread, the indirect ras. And there's just one final one, which is obvious, which is called ghastliness. Ghastliness means, we mentioned before, intestines, all this blood. Not only did Hiranyakashipu get killed by having his intestines ripped out, but his heart was taken out by the Lord. The Lord did heart surgery on him, open heart surgery, and he ripped out his heart and he just chucked it to the side. That's amazing. It's funny, actually. Sorry. For me, it's actually quite funny. It's funny ghastliness. Sorry, I have this sense of humor that's impossible to check. So, anyway, so he chucks the heart, and then he takes his claws, his nails, and he rips to shreds all these soldiers at the same time. So there's like a ghastly mess there. So that's ghastliness. And ghastliness is shock, revulsion, horror. So in this way, anyway, that's all we have time for today. In this way, Lord Nrsingadev was enjoying, and his devotees were enjoying all the different rasas, the indirect rasas, not all the direct rasas. That was the point I'm making. So I'd like you to all think about this in terms of ras theology, what's actually happening there, and how the Lord's enjoying. And just to finish it up, one final thing that I talked about a few weeks ago during the Ram Navami is that that's exactly what's happening during the whole story of the Ramayana. Now, some of you may look at the Ramayana from an external viewpoint and think that the Lord is suffering, and Sita Devi is suffering, and Hanuman is suffering at the end, feeling the separation from his Lord. But they're all enjoying different rasas. And these rasas in the mature world might be miserable. When you're feeling separation in the mature world, that is misery. But when there's separation between the Lord and his devotees, the devotees of the Lord, they're experiencing the highest ecstasy, like when Krishna left Vrindavan. And the gopis were lamenting. They were experiencing the highest ecstasy. Krishna is not cruel. His devotees are always experiencing ecstasy. Getting back to the story of Hiranyakashipu, Prahlad Maharaj was always experiencing ecstasy. because he was always being protected by the Lord, always remembering the Lord. And even the punishments that Hiranyakashipu was trying to give Prahlad Maharaj were an impetus to his taking shelter of the Lord and remembering the Lord. Because, as Bhagavad Gita teaches us, Yomam Pashati Sarvatra Sarvam Chamayi Pashati Tashaham na pranashyami Sachame na pranashyati. That devotee sees Krishna in everything and everywhere, and in this way he's never lost to Krishna. So when Krishna puts us in these difficulties, hopefully we won't be in the same difficulties as Prahlad Maharaj, but they should be an impetus to remember Krishna, and they will increase our remembrance and ecstasy and taking shelter of Krishna. Then devotees can be happy in the midst of the greatest danger and the greatest difficulty. And this is the teaching of Prahlad Maharaj and teaching of Krishna in all of his various incarnations. The gopis were experiencing the highest ecstasy. They were remembering Krishna. Sita Devi was experiencing the highest ecstasy. She was remembering her Lord, Lord Ram. And Lord Chaitanya's wife, Vishnu Priya, was experiencing the highest ecstasy. I'll be just reading today a story about Vishnu Priya, how she would only take 1 grain of rice for each Hare Krishna mantra she chanted. This is actually a very interesting thing. Some people say for each round, but that wouldn't work. And she was a great ascetic, and she was experiencing the greatest ecstasy. So when we see the pastimes of Lord Nrsimhadev, or the pastimes of any of the different appearances of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from a materialistic vision, we don't really understand what's going on. So let's try to see from the vision of Ras, and then we can really appreciate the Lord's pastimes. Okay? So thank you very much, and now it's time for the Abhishek. Is that right? All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Lord Nrsimhadev, and all glories to Srila Rupa Goswami, who gave us this information in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and in the Ujjvala Nilamani about the Ras theology and the Lord's enjoyment.
Hare Krishna. So first of all, let's express our gratitude to His Holiness Bhai Krishna Goswami Maharaj. Such a wonderful class on analyzing, seeing the whole pastime through these 7 secondary rasas. We just need a little space for Maharaj to go on the altar. Okay. Okay, everyone can please be seated. Please be seated. You can just turn towards the deities, but please be seated. And you have more space here, so those are outside. You can fill this entire gap. Come closer. Please fill the space. Shri Nrsimhadeva Bhagwan ki, Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki. So, as Maharaj gets ready for the Abhishek, we would like to thank the devotees who have sponsored the festival today. We have many devotees who have asked for special prayers on this day of Narasimha Chaturdashi. So I'm going to read the devotees. So we have, so the feast sponsorship, we have multiple devotees who have sponsored the feast. So we have S.K. Prasad Prabhu, Saurabh Prabhu, Aarti Mataji and Rishan, and they are asking prayers for the recovery of grandmother Kiran Prasad. Okay. And then we have Vrajeshwari Radha Mataji. She actually sponsors the yagya, the feast, and the entire festival. So we like to thank her for that. Gopinath Acharya Prabhu, Pratna Mataji have sponsored the Abhishek for Ramchandra's birthday. Haribol. And also we have Suryakant, Veena, Chandana, Sadhana, Har, Lekar. They have also sponsored the Abhishek for today. We have Mangal Nitai Chand and Sugamani Mataji for Aparajit's birthday. They have sponsored the feast. We have Vijay Kumar, Kalaivani, Sukita, Mithul. They have sponsored the feast, requesting prayers for their family. Pratyusha, she's Mataji, she's right here. She sponsored in the name of her husband, Keshav Tarimeti. Then we have Aarti Vasudevana. She sponsored the Mahaprasadam feast. We have Kunal Prabhu and Garima Mataji. I just saw them somewhere here. They have also sponsored the feast for today. We have Ajmer Prabhu's family. They also were right here somewhere. And they're around, I've seen them. So they're right here. So they have also sponsored the feast. So thank you to all the devotees who have sponsored the festival today. And we would like to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times, requesting prayers. Like certain devotees have made special requests for prayers. So we want to pray for all of them and also pray to Shri Shri Radha Golokanda Narsimadev to shower their blessings on all of them. So let's 3 times loudly chant the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Also today is a doubly auspicious day because it's not only Chaturdashi, but today we are also expressing our gratitude to all the mothers. You know, today is Mother. So we'd like to offer a prayer to all the mothers, expressing our gratitude for everything they have done for us, and they constantly do their selfless service. So let's chant for all the mothers the Hare Krishna Mahamantra loudly, praying for them and expressing our gratitude for all the mothers. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, sing. Okay, so everyone can remain seated. So Maharaj is going to offer the Abhishek from the altar. So we have space on this side if people want to come closer. And those Mataji behind can also come. So we're going to have a short Abhishek, and then we are going to go downstairs for the Yagya. And then at 6:30 there will be the performances and then Prasada. Okay, and if anyone else would like to sponsor, we are around, Mother Leela Shakti, myself, you can let us know. Okay, so we're going to have a very meditative kirtan. Let's really pray to Lord Narasimhadev for protection for each other, protection for our dear ones, protection from the anarthas in our heart. And let's pray to Lord Narasimhadev that He takes away all our obstacles in the service of Shri Shri Radha Golokanda. So let's really pray for the next 10 minutes, have that mood of prayer, and everyone. And also we are praying for this community. We are all together. We pray that there may be no obstacles and we can grow wonderfully as a sweet new Goloka family. So everyone, please have this prayerful mood, and His Grace Drishta Prabhu will read the kirtan.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namale Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvisesa Shunyavadi Praschacharya Tarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Shunyavadi Paschachadeshataran Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati Gaur Bhaktarinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati Gaur Bhaktarinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati Gaur Bhaktarinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati Gaur Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare, Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev, Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev, 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 Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev, Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Bhakta Prahlad, Bhakta Prahlad, Bhakta Prahlad, Jaya Bhakta Prahlad, Jaya Bhakta Prahlad, Bhakta Prahlad, Jaya Bhakta Prahlad, Jaya Bhakta Prahlad, Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya, Jaya Radha Goloka Nanda, Radha Goloka Nanda, Radha, Jaya Radha Goloka Nanda, Radha Goloka Nanda, Radha, Jaya Radha Goloka Nanda, Radha Goloka Nanda, Radha, Radha Goloka Nanda, Radha Goloka Nanda, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jai Shri Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Nrsimhadeva ki jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Gol Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol, Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Bhavarikacharya Satara Sadashishimal Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananda Koti Vaishnavinda ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem Sikar Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinda ki jai, Jai Radha Krishna Gopa Govana Shai Mukunda Radha Kunda Giri Gaurani ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Mayapur Navadip Dham ki jai, Jagannathpuri Dham ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki, Srimati Tulsi Devi ki, Harinam Sankirtan ki, Behan Madanga ki, Samaveda Bhaktivinda ki, the most holy appearance day of Lord Nrsimhadeva ki jai. Gaur Premanandi, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Shri Nrsimhadev Bhagavan ki, Nrsimha चतुर्दशी महामहोत्सव की, श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की, श्री श्री राधा गोलोकानंद की, गिरिराज गोवर्धन की, श्री राधा श्याम सुंदर की. Hare Krishna. So our next program is, we are all ready for the Narsimha Mahayagya in the hall downstairs, and as soon as Narsimha Dev appears, not from the pillar but from this door, then we will actually, follow Narsimha Dev downstairs, and then he'll preside the yagya. Okay, so everyone can please join me as we raise our hands. We'll call out the Maha Mantra, praying to Lord Narasimhadev for protection, for mercy. So please everyone join. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Can you blow the conch?
You can give it to the sponsors.
Good. Hare Krishna. श्री नरसिंहदेव भगवान की, श्री नरसिंहदेव भगवान की, श्री नरसिंहदेव भगवान की. Everyone please let's follow Prahlad Maharaj, the footsteps of Prahlad Maharaj. Let's proceed downstairs for the yagya. Hare Krishna.
Downstairs or here?
You will come downstairs.
It doesn't matter, right? Either way, whatever you
I think it's good to have Kirtan temple.
Okay.
I was thinking you want to do Kirtan here?
Either is fine. I'm fine with either.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Take it down.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama,